Until then, we're getting into our finals. The grand finals are upon us. If you're in the chat, place your bets on who you believe will claim the series. Will it go the way of the Zerg or the Protoss? Up to you. The Duck or the Eximius? Up to you to decide. Oh my god, up to you to decide. With that, let's jump in. Sporting in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. And sporting in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Zimi's Gaming. It is Shakti. I believe Shakti was telling Erik to join a Discord server so they can talk, so he can talk with some friends. And Eric's like, I'm not going to talk to a Protoss. I'm not conversing with a Protoss player. You disgust me. God. If anyone can have a cleaner translation, this is just a rough translation because I recognize a couple of words here and there. Eric's like, get away from me. Let's go. As we're selling into our best of 5. It all ends here. It all ends between these two players. The best Protoss in Brazil up against the best Zerg player in Brazil. And it should be a fast one as well. Erik is not known for his macro. He can macro, don't get me wrong. It's just not what he's known for. Not what he does. Not what he does best. As Erik is going for an initial gas first. Gas pull into hatchery. Into faster link speed. Does pull out. Erik moving out across the map. Trying to get a read on what's going on. And we do see that Shakti is playing it safe. He does chrono out that first Zealot. Will wall off in time. Second gateway. Zealot pops out. Oh, and the surround! Ooh, Erik almost gets the surround. Will be forced back though. Trying to get some extra hits in. Getting some extra hull damage, but does not break the Zealot. So that was one Ling for half HP on that Zealot. Shakti does hold. Shakti was forced to make the Zealot, forced to chrono, and forced to throw down the second gateway, so this is an inefficient start for Shakti, but he survives. Ooh, even plays it safe by throwing down the shield battery. So Shakti playing very safe, very scared. Meanwhile, Erik back at home has not pulled back into gas. So there's no Bane Bust, there's no Roach Flood, no Roach Rush either, just drones. Erik is droning, does move out with link speed. Will threaten the wall, but can't do much more than that. And I'm curious the tech choice of Shakti. Does set the pylon behind the mineral line? What does he go for? The Twilight Council or the Robo? I'm assuming it's one or the other. I'm assuming it's not a Stargate just because of the position of the pylon. I'm just assuming. The Star Sagora, yeah. You go. And there it is. There's our take of choice. It's going to be the Twilight Council behind the mineral line. Erik is going for the scouts. Goes to the scout, goes to the dive, and up. Ooh, we'll get eyes on the Twilight Council. Now, this could be Glaives or this could be DTs. I mean, there's actually a couple of things this could be. So he has a piece of the puzzle. Erik should respond with either a Roach Warren or a Bailey Nest. One or the other. It's going to be Blink. Oh my god. That I was not expecting. I was thinking maybe a 2-base charge all in, Glaive Adepts, or Dark Templar, but Blink Stalkers was not on my mind. As Shakti is expanding, taking a third, but rushing into Blink. Back at home, Erik still droning, and I was curious whether he was going to go for the Bailey Nest or the Roach Warren. We have the answer. Roach Warren. It's going to be the Roach Warren for Erik. At a very safe timing. Behind this, droning up, taking gases to be able to afford those roaches. Shakti is likewise dipping out as well. What about Asher? I don't know if Asher really follows much StarCraft anymore. He's been taking a break from StarCraft. Like, he dips back in every now and then. Like laddering or maybe sometimes watching. But Asher is not as engrossed as he once was. For better or for worse, right? Asher nowadays, he's been studying, of course. He went back to university. Has been putting in a lot of work. Studying once again. as Erik is going to be cutting workers, getting up to 2 base saturation, 47 drones. Just 47 workers and massing up roaches and lings. We have roach speed on the way, we have +1 range on the way as well. Erik is massing an army, but now going back to droning and taking into a Hydra Den after the hallucination goes down. Interesting. So Erik, he did invest quite heavily into an army, but it looks like it's just for safety. He has lings harassing across the map, and Erik is droning once again. Meanwhile, Shakti moves out. As Shakti moves out, Erik moves in. He's going for the third. He's going for the mineral line, and he will find some probes. No shield battery! Uh-oh. No shield battery, no side defense whatsoever. Probes are going down, and Shakti turns back around as well. We got a surround! The Stalker and the Adept. Erik even forcing a recall. Big overreaction. Erik pulls away, and behind this, Erik has been droning. Erik has been droning up, again taking into Hydras, saturating his third. Erik achieving so much with so little here. Shakti trying to move out. Erik going for the third once again. There is a shield battery on the way, but it's not ready. It's not ready yet. And the Stalker is going to fall, at least one. We got some force fields. The Stalker still falls. And Erik, he gets the shield battery as well. That's a kill on the shield battery. Almost a sentry. Stalkers race back. Erik pulls away. And once again, every time Shakti tries to be aggressive, he's dragged back home by the lings. Which means Erik, he gets away with droning. 4th hatchery now in production. And Erik is going into Roach Hydra. Interesting. Hydra speed now on the way. Infestation bit, that's going to be for Hive Tech. Hallucination will scout, will attempt to at least, diving into the main, and doesn't quite get eyes on anything. Sees the third, sees saturation, sees gases, but does not see the tech. Doesn't know if it's Roach Ravager or if it's Hydra. Or even Spire Tech. Could be mutants. Could be mutants. Yo, shout out to Password in the chat. Ay, papi, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. The wall is wide open. Lings, they do flood in, but there is a Colossus to defend. Roaches, they dive in as well, going for the Colossus. At the same time, Roach Hydra hits the third. Colossus goes down. Massive pickoff, barely out of range of the shield battery. Colossus is sniped. Roach Hydra slowly starts stepping forward. Overcharge gets popped. And Erik will respect the overcharge, will retreat. Does fight out of range. Meanwhile, Roaches are still not dealt with. And GG gets called. There's just too much damage, and Erik will take game number 1. GG. Again, Erik known for his chaotic style, and it was very risky as well. There were times where if Shakti had moved out across the map and committed, then Erik would be in trouble. I'm specifically referring to the moment when Erik went for a big link counterattack initially, hit the third base, and he forced a recall. He forced the Stalkers to run back home and then recall back as well. Erik was buying so much time to get away with droning or teching or not really having much at home to defend. Again, just really risky play out of Erik, but it paid off. Did pay off in the end. GG, well played. GG, well played. Erik does take game number 1, but that was merely only game 1. Now we're now jumping into game number 2. Jumping into game 2. It's going to be on Crimson Court. An interesting map of choice. I'm curious how Erik will deal with the problem that is Crimson Court. Here we go. Yeah, getting into that next game. Erik denying the Discord invite and denying game 1, and we'll see if we can bounce back. We'll see if we can have a back and forth. This morning in the top right hand corner of Crimson Court, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the best Protoss in all of Latino America, representing Eximius Gaming. It is Shakti. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the best Zerg player in all of Brazil, representing the CranKy Ducklings, as he is one of our own. What does he stand for? He stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. The F in his name stands for fear. It is Erik. Because he has no fear. Let's go. As it probes the workers, they do pass by each other. Erik going for a hatch block. Okay, it's going to be pool first. It's going to be pool, gas opener into a hatchery across the map. I'm assuming for a hatchery block here in the base, but he could go for a block of the wall. No, there we go. He's going for the expansion. He will deny the natural, or will he? Never mind, going for the wall off instead. He made a choice. He thought about it. He was like, do I go for the hatchery block, for the natural block, or do I go for the wall? Going for the wall instead. Shakti does respond beautifully with a forge. This is how you want to approach this, especially against aggression. So the way this works is a Protoss player to defend this early on has very little production, has very minimal units, so relying on only warp-ins will kill you. How do you respond? With a forge. With a forge, with cannons, with static defense. With cannons and minimal gateway units, Shakti should be able to hold, defend, and survive, and Erik is not committing. Hatchery back at home. There's a hatchery back at home. Erik is droning. Erik, despite making the fast spawning pool, despite making the fast gas geyser, he is not making lings. He's forcing a reaction out of his opponent, and he's hoping for an overreaction. Overlord dips in. Zealot was chronoed out. We do have a backup Stalker on the way. Cannon as well. And again, Erik, he's just droning. Just chilling back at home, just droning on up. The hatchery will not finish, is cancelled just in time. The drone will escape, and Erik is double expanding, taking his natural, going for the forward expansion as well. This forward base usually leads into a roach base all in, just because of the high yield gas geyser. It does have a lot of value here to be taken. And we'll see how Erik does embrace it. Behind this, still just happily droning. Link speed is on the way. And back at home, Erik, he goes for the attempted scout, but it's a little bit too early for a scout. There's not really much to work with. There we go. Shakti going for the Twilight Council behind the mineral line once again. Erik, did he spot the pylon? He did not. He did not spot the pylon. He should be aware that the pylon was somewhere where he was unable to scout, either behind the mineral line or potentially, I guess, behind the natural, but most likely behind the mineral line. It is going to be a Twilight Council. It's going to be +1. Do we go for a 2-base charge all in? Do we go for a 2-base blink stalker? I'm feeling charge, but we'll see. We shall see. Could even be Twilight Council into Templar Archives. As Shakti is still mining gas. Meanwhile, Erik prioritizes that high yield gas geyser, as I did mention. Getting into the third. And it's gonna be blink. Okay, not charge. Once again, fast blink here from Shakti. Do have some gateways being thrown down as well. Getting up to 3 gateways. And Shakti should attempt to take a third, but the lings are here. Erik is in position. There's a 4th gateway on the way. Erik, he, I believe, wants to knock down these rocks. Where though? I like it. Erik, he nibbled away at these rocks, and he's like, no. Okay, I got one better. He nibbles away at the further back rocks instead, which will make it harder for Shakti to scout and recognize that these rocks are being knocked down. And Erik is gaining access to this would-be third. As we can see, though, there is no third. Not yet. Shakti is still on 2 bases and is committing even harder. 2-base all in. It's going to be a straight up 2-base all in. Erik needs to scout. He needs to figure this out. The Overlord is being shut down. A 2nd Stalker as well. Erik, he won't get the scout off. He tries. He sees 1 gate. Oh, just 1 gateway. He does not see the gateway explosion, but he will confirm the lack of 3rd base. We'll catch a Stalker. Erik is still in the dark. If he drones, that may just kill him. Erik getting supply blocked, building up roaches. Here comes the all-in. Shakti moving out across the map. It's going to be a 2-base 6-gate all-in from Shakti with +1 and blink. Stalkers have arrived. Erik still supply blocked. 5 overlords on the way. The supply block is brutal. Erik does have a handful of roaches to defend. Does some step forward. Forces the blink. Chases Shakti back. 9 roaches in production. Lings racing back home. The gas geyser is under fire. Drones are going down as well. Brutal losses already. 4 drone kills. That is massive considering the economic state right now. And Erik, can he hold? Can he hold on? He has to use it as well sparingly. There we go. Does pile, does zone away. Queen is exposed. The queen is going to go down. Erik trying desperately to hold on. Forcing the army back, getting within range of the prism. Ravagers are being targeted down though. Nice pick-offs by Shakti. Very nice target firing. Gets 2 Ravagers. Bearing in mind there is no third. There's still no third base for Shakti. He has to break Erik here and now. More Lings are on the way. Still only 2 Ravagers. Erik trying to drag the army onto creep. Does pick off 1 Stalker. Very nice pick-off. Getting within range. Chasing down the main army. He ignores the prism. Does catch a couple of Stalkers. That's what, 8 Stalkers going down. Erik does chase Shakti back. Roach speed is done. He's gonna pull away. Does pull away, but it looks like Erik, he has enough to keep going to overwhelm. The gas is back up and running. So stepping forward, pulling away. Do we get the piles? We do, but it's only 2 piles. Prism will survive. Erik pulling back, making more Lings. We got 3 more Ravagers on the way. Erik is holding. He's holding for the time being, but he's threading that prism. Erik trying to drag the army out of position as well. And he himself is all in. Erik is on 37 drones. Third base has been thrown down. Shakti trying to transition out of this. Is trying. And Erik is not turning back. Still pushing forward. No shield battery. Uh-oh. No shield battery to speak of. Stalkers are getting picked up. The Biles, they don't quite connect. Going for the pylon. Artosis pylon goes down. The warping is denied. And Erik, he breaks through. Oh, yep. It was Artosis pylon. Erik, calm down, Papi. Calm down. Not like this. Artosis catching strays. Oh, God. As Biles, they don't quite connect. It looks like the Ravagers are going to be targeted down. Shakti is holding. Has the overcharge. Does repower the wall. Shakti is still in this game. Shakti has a third. And Erik, he loses his main army. Erik is in trouble. He's still on a very low drone count. The question becomes, do we try to drone from here or commit to another all-in? Do we commit to the second wave? And the answer, of course, is Erik commits. Does push forward. Prism has to unsiege. Erik leading out a lot of roaches though. And no Lings to reinforce. Erik running out of steam. Don't make anything behind this. Yeah, Erik, it looks like he is running out of steam. He's going to be forced back once again. Not enough behind this. 1 Ravager lives. And Shakti with Blink Stalkers, he can just out-control this. He can just out-control the army. Erik now starts to drone. But it's too late. And we will have a back and forth. As Shakti is going to be overwhelming. Erik, he was so close to breaking Shakti at the natural, but did overextend. The pants were not down. They were up. Shakti, he's wearing a belt. And Shakti will shut down this main army again. Barely any roaches remaining. We have reinforcements on the way, and Erik is going to be able to hold on a little bit longer here. But no more Ravagers, barely any roaches. And again, Blink Stalkers have so much micro potential. As long as Shakti controls well, should be able to break this expansion. So far, the Blinks are on point. Erik filing in. Catching another Stalker. Catching a couple of Stalkers, actually. But again, he just doesn't have the numbers. Doesn't have the roach count he needs. It's an impressive hold, but Alas, still not enough. Yeah, the back has been broken. The queens have fallen. And Shakti, he knows that he has more than enough. He can ignore the base, he can just go for the kill. Erik doesn't want to tap out. The final roach falls. Fell on its back. And there it is. GG gets called. Shakti, he holds, he survives, he counterattacks, gets away with the third base. And Shakti ties up the series 1-1. We are going to a tied up series. Let's go. Let us go. We're getting into game 3. We're getting into a back and forth. Whew. We're getting to a back and forth here. Again, Erik, because of the third base, breaking into the natural was not good enough. He either had to kill Shakti then and there, or break the third, and keep Shakti contained on 2 bases. I actually don't know if Erik saw the third base. Now that I think about it, I don't think there was an overlord in position. I don't think he ever... I think he saw it later on, in the secondary push. But, yeah, I think if he had known of the third base earlier, then maybe he would have gone for the third instead, just for a more secure kill. Alas, GG. GG, well played. We're getting into game number 3. We go. And we're going to be loading into Ghost River. And we'll see if Shakti can get his revenge. For those that are maybe unfamiliar, it was almost 2 months ago. It was almost 2 months ago where Shakti and Erik played previously. And after Erik beat Shakti, he took a long break. He was like, I'm done. He's like, I'm retired, papi. Like, I can't handle it anymore. The chaos that is Erik. But now he's bouncing back. Is bouncing back. And we're getting into Ghost River. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. Oh, he's going for a 12 pool. And in the top left-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss, the blue Protoss player representing Zumi's Gaming. It is Shakti. I wish my Brazilian was better. Hold on. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's saying no one's gonna beat me 37 maps in a row. I think, is Erik on a 36 map win streak against Shakti? No shot. I'm checking Wikipedia. I'm checking Wikipedia. Erik going for a 12 pool, moving out across the map. I'm gonna try and look up the history between Shakti and Erik. Has it been 36 wins? No shot. As it is going to be a 12 pool into Hatch Block, into Ling Flood. Erik is going to be rallying across the map. Nah, it hasn't been 36. Okay. Fun fact, the last time Shakti took a map off of Erik was in 2021. It's been a couple of years. But I mean, Shakti has been retired, is the thing. Like, he has been retired for a couple of years, so it's fine. Here you go. Shakti winning his first map since 2021. Let's go. Meanwhile, Lings have arrived. Zealot dancing with the Lings. Oh! Ooh, we don't quite get this around. Second Zealot has arrived as well. Oh, we got this around! Erik, he baits out the Zealots, and he should be able to shut both of them down. Yeah, both Zealots do fall. Lings didn't quite make it in, but they're going for the gateway. Ooh, Adept is going to come out just in time. It's going to be close. No, the Adept. It does not pop out. The Adept will be denied. Gateway falls as the backup Adept on the way, thankfully. There is a second Adept. Pylons under fire. Lings breaking through. You're going for the shield battery. Oh, and the Lings are so close to breaking in, but with there's still a shield battery though, even with the surround. But the Adept is, it's out of range! The Adept is stuck out of range, is pinned against the wall. Shield battery's gonna fall, but there are backup shield batteries on the way. Queen is almost done. Spine Crawler's in production as well. And Erik, he's breaking through. He has broken the natural. GG gets called. The Spines will finish. And Erik takes a 2-1 lead. Whew. GG. GG, well played. If anyone has a better translation, I would appreciate it as to what Shakti was saying. But here we go. We are getting into that next game. And Erik is up 2-1 and is 1 game away from taking the series and becoming our champion. I'm hoping for an ace match. I'm hoping Shakti can bounce back, but we'll see what he goes for. When it comes to winding it back a little bit, when it comes to the initial build, sorry, I was just looking up the history between Shakti and Erik. When it comes to the build of choice, because it's Ghost River, because of the short rush distance by ground, because how small the map is, aggression and builds like a 12 pool can hit that much harder and that much, yeah, be that much more difficult to defend against on Ghost River. Do have that advantage. Here we go. We're getting into that next game. Loading into Alcyone. I'm checking a Ligulac, because I know Liquipedia doesn't have all of their matches. But here we go, we're getting into game number 4. Does it all end here, or do we bounce back? Can we bring it back? That as spawning in the top right hand corner of Alcyone, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing the CranKy Ducklings. He's one of our own. What does he stand for? He stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. It is Erik. Going for the gas first. Ooh, and spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Ximius Gaming. It is Shakti. It's going to be 14 gas into 14 pool, so 14-14 out of Erik. We saw this, I want to say, in game 1, where he was able to rush into link speed early on, into a hatchery, into a more standard game state in the early game. Yo, I have no idea how to use a Ligulac. I'll be honest. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works, man. Is there a way to do like head-to-head on the Ligulac? Is that a thing? I'm sure it is. Oh yeah. There is a compare. Okay. I'm learning. As Erik, okay, with the 14-14, is going into fast link speed, and he's going for the gold. Is rushing into the gold base. It looks like there shouldn't be much more aggression from here. Yep, it's going to be 14-14, pulling out of gas, so no fast Roach War, no fast Baneliness, no fast Lair. Erik is going for the gold. And droning. Meanwhile, Shakti back at home responds with a Zealot. It makes sense. He scattered the earlier pool timing, so Shakti knows that there is some aggression coming his way, and we'll go for the Zealots, we'll go for the Pylon, we'll fully wall off, and that was what Erik was hoping for. Because of the positioning of the second Pylon, this does mean that Shakti will most likely throw down his tech at the wall. So the tech is going to be exposed, is going to be vulnerable. My apologies, sorry, that is the third Pylon. So Shakti can still hide that tech. Should be okay. Still, they're forced to wall off. Adept is moving out. And we'll see if Shakti can punish the gold. We'll see if he can. Thank you for the translation in the chat. No one wins 36 maps in a row and gets away with it. Erik got away with it. Not like this. Let's go. As the goal base is getting saturated, back at home, Roach 1 has been thrown down for Erik. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As Shakti is still overreacting, that is a second shield battery on the way. Oh, Shakti is going to be stuck at home. The gateway's exposed. Behind this is going to be a Stargate open into an Oracle. The Oracle can help harass, and Shakti has even scouted. He has not yet seen the expansion. Shakti is still in the dark. He has no idea what's going on. Meanwhile, across the map, Erik is going into Roach aggression. Roaches are massing as we speak. Erik is still making a handful of drones here and there, so it's a little bit middle of the road. I'm curious if these are safety roaches for Erik, or if he intends to morph them into Ravagers. There we go. Is going to morph them into Ravagers and poke. So Erik is going to threaten the natural base. Another shield battle. Oh my god! Shakti! He's terrified. He sees the army. He sees the roaches. His third base is delayed. We'll get one Ravager, not bad. But again, Erik is droning. Erik is chilling. He's droning up. Saturating his main. Getting ready for a third, I imagine. And that third shield battery will complete. And the scary thing here is that there's still no third base for Shakti. Still no third in sight. This gold always works in ZvP. I recommend watching Classic and Hero versus Dark and Shin. The Korean Protoss players are really good at punishing the gold. Trap as well. So Trap, Hero, Classic. There's a reason why the Korean Zerg players don't take the gold against them. And we do see Erik, he does finally break out. We'll be bleeding off his Ravagers, but there are 16 links behind this. Erik is taking his third. But is Erik overextending? As he does barely get that Stalker. Not bad. Stalker goes down. More links fighting across the map. He wants the Stalkers. He wants them. Up. And he's going to get one more. Gets up the Stalker. Shield batteries to finish. And Erik, he has to back off. Has to back off. Links are a little bit too late. Back at home. Erik not droning. Again, it's always so difficult to get a read on Erik. It's like, does he drone or does he not? He's not droning his third. He's not droning his third. He's massing up more roaches. Shakti did invest into all the stack defense at the natural, but it's not going to come into play. Thankfully, has 3 shield batteries at the third, and this will help. Again, Shakti playing so safe here, so carefully against Erik. I don't blame him. The creep is advancing. It's almost at the third. Link's pushing forward, and Erik, he wants to lock down the Stalkers. There is no blink. There is no blink. The Queens are pushing forward as well. Stalkers are targeted down, and they're caught out. Massive cash. There might be 3 shield batteries, but the army was out of position. Shakti, he was caught out. You know what it is. The belt is off. He's not wearing his belt anymore. And the shield batteries are going to go down one after the other. The piles are too much, and it looks like Erik, he is snowballing out of control. He has broken the third base. The shield batteries, the pylons, everything is crumbling. And Shakti might be able to defend the natural, but not the third. Not the third bases. Erik, he wants more. GG gets called. Shakti cannot keep up, and Erik will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's Code for Giants Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Erik for taking the series, and my condolences to Shakti. My condolences. He was able to take a map. You know, we mentioned before, he had that one quote, no one wins 36 games in a row and gets away with it, referring to the fact that Shakti did take a game, did take a game here against Erik on Crimson Court, where Erik overextended. He overextended, he pushed out, he tried to break into the natural, but did run out of steam. Shakti able to successfully defend and counterattack. So Shakti, he had his own moments here in this series, but Erik was still able to get into his head. Was able to catch him out in the end. GG, well played. I do think that, again, Shakti was playing very scared in that last game that we just saw, where he delayed his third for so long, he was throwing down all these shield batteries. How to alleviate that insecurity would be scouting, right? Would be scouting, checking, confirming the saturation at the bases, whether or not a player is droning or not, with oracles, with the depths being active on the map. This is something that Shakti couldn't quite pull off. If you remember, his oracles, they were engaging with the Ravagers, and they were sniping Ravagers, true. Ravagers are being sniped, but he wasn't quite able to confirm what else Erik was going for. So again, Shakti had a hard time reading Erik. So did we, to be fair. Like, it's always difficult knowing when and when isn't Erik droning. It's so difficult to determine that, and because of that, it does mean that Shakti kind of stumbled his way into the mid game. Likewise, it was brutal for him to be caught out. I do believe, actually, despite how the game was progressing and despite how late the third was, for example, and all that. Despite that, I do think that if Shakti was staying at the third instead and was in position to defend against the all-in with all of his stalkers, I still think he might have been able to defend there. He might have been able to hold with an overcharge, with a high ground. But if you remember, just before the all-in had come to full swing, Shakti was caught out on the map and was surrounded just barely out of range of the third base, out of range of the shield batteries. He lost every single stalker. That was like, what, 8 or 9 stalkers going down. And that was game. That was game then and there. GG. GG. As was someone asking in the chat about the events, about what the event this is a Brazilian-only tournament. It is a bi-weekly. That means every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, every fortnight, there is a Code for Giants Cup. It is organized by Cosmos. It is sponsored by Code for Giants, which is a website that does kind of give courses, I believe, related to programming, related to the tech field, giving courses and giving, yeah, just, I guess, a resource hub for the Brazilian scene, as it is in Brazilian. It is not in English. But they are passionate and, of course, fans of StarCraft, so willing to fund these bi-weekly tournaments. So much love to the sponsor, Code for Giants, and much love to Cosmos for hosting this event as well. When it came to the matches themselves, we had some amazing series. If you missed out, I recommend the VOD. I recommend watching especially Dominoko versus Yen. It was a very close back and forth best of 3. Unfortunately, the VOD was cut because we lagged out. We did lag out of game 1, but it was still a very, very entertaining series, and it was very back and forth. This was entertaining. The finals was entertaining in a very different way, as it was very chaotic and very intense. Likewise, Erik versus Yen was wild as well. Again, Erik is a very unique player. Again, he's very aggressive, very creative, comes up with his own builds. I mentioned before that he is the player that originally popularized the 15-15. A couple of years ago, he's the player that started it, and then the European region and everyone else adopted it as well, which was really cool to see. Same with the I should say strategy of going for drop lord queen drops to spread creep across the map at like bases in a ZvT against Terran players. Cyril started doing that after he saw Erik, which was really cool as well. That was also like 2 years ago, I think. So really cool to see that that he's kind of like opening the door for these other kind of play styles, and that other players can like refine it over time. So yeah, really cool to see. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. We're just catching up. See someone asking, is Rogue still in the military? He's competing again. But Rogue is no longer in the military. He is he's playing again. He's competing. Competing in tournaments. But hello, Visca in the chat. Visca Hannibal. That was some long game right there. True. Piping hot mess of awesomeness, Pappy. Oh, let's go. But yeah, with that, we're going to be wrapping up for the morning. We do have another broadcast in a couple of hours. We have another broadcast in 6 hours time, so not too long. We're going to be casting the OSC mid-season playoffs, so be sure to be here if you're unsatiated. I know that it's quite late in Europe, so for those of you that are going to bed, rest well. Hope you enjoy yourselves and hope to see you tomorrow. Meanwhile, again, in 6 hours, we have another cast. We have another tournament. OSC mid-season playoffs. If you're curious what matches we're going to be casting, we're going to be casting Baby Marine versus Jomek, going to be casting Azura versus Quanta, Art versus Pappy, Spirit versus Future, Nightmare versus Young Yakov, Cham versus Iba, and Art versus Hon Mono. 7 best of 3s are going to be taking place here tonight on the CranKy Ducklings. So if you're interested, do check it out in 6 hours. Otherwise, you can always check out the VODs. If you're curious, socials in the chat, and you'll get a link to all of our social medias and our YouTube channel as well. We do stream here on Twitch and on YouTube because that VODs are available instantly on YouTube and Twitch as well, if you prefer VODs on whichever platform you desire. So VODs are available. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow. So later tonight in 6 hours is obviously mid-season playoffs. Tomorrow is the Pondcast. No tournament cast tomorrow, but it's going to be a talk show. It's going to be a podcast going over the week's matches, going over the week's tournaments, and everything that's been going on in the StarCraft scene. So do check it out if you're interested. Otherwise, a shout out to Tater Tutor God. Thank you so much for the gifted sub. We do appreciate it. Gracias. Do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Someone's asking, is there going to be another GSL at the end of the year? We have no confirmation. Unlikely. It is unlikely for there to be another GSL this year. And the future of GSL is still a little bit ambiguous. Likewise, so is the future of EPT. As far as we know, there is going to be another season of the ESL Pro Tour, but we don't know what it looks like. And I don't think ESL knows what it looks like yet either. They did post recently that they are sorting it out themselves, or I should say that they're still figuring out the details and figuring out how they want 2025 to look when it comes to a circuit, when it comes to incorporating EWC. They're still kind of figuring out the details with how they want to approach EPT. So because of that, we are still not fully aware, but I'm sure there's going to be news in the coming month. I'm sure. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. We're going to be heading off for the time being. Next code for Giants Cup is in 2 weeks. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We're going to be heading off for the time being. I might stream in an hour. I'm going to take a break. I'm gonna go quickly get some breakfast. I'm gonna go have a shower, and I might go live on my personal channel in an hour just for a cheeky ladder session. If you want to tune in to some live VIP ladder, I am Masters 2, recently promoted to Masters 2. Yesterday I was smurging. Yesterday I was not having the best of ladder sessions, so I lost a lot of MMR. But if you're interested, light_VIP on Twitch. I do stream on a daily basis during the week. I don't stream over the weekends, and I might have a short ladder session today. Just a short one, because I did mention that we have another cast in a couple of hours. So I do want to save some of my energy and some of my strength for that cast. Otherwise, see you next time. See you then. Hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Do check them out. Do support them.